Hey, welcome back to the show. Today is October 10th, 2023, and the news is sponsored by Analogue Spotlight, a group of photographic retailers and manufacturers who have joined together to support analog photographic media and help keep analog photography thriving worldwide. These brands are Cameradactyl, Cosmo Foto, Chroma cameras, Reveni labs, RealitySoSubtle, Intrepid cameras, Pixl-ltr, Brooklyn film cameras, ONDU cameras, standard cameras 20th century, cameras Pictoriographica, Analogue Wonderland, Cinestill, large format camera store, Carmencita Film Lab, RH Designs, Ars Imago, and Alvandi cameras. There is going to be a Analogue Spotlight event happening in the UK in Nottingham, the 14th and 15th of October. This is not the photography show like last year. This is actually, I think they also did a separate event. This is a separate event which is ongoing through the 14th and 15th of October. The price per day is £20, the whole weekend £30. And some of the brands that are sponsoring the news, plus some others, are going to be there broadcast, showing their products, doing demos, and so on. So I'll leave the link below if you want to attend or you're interested. But yeah, that is the Analogue Spotlight. So it's been a couple weeks maybe since I came back from Photopia. I haven't done the news since. There's been a lot to process mentally and physically. 4 or 5 days of fair is always taxing, but there's been a bunch of news. I have to say, for those who didn't go, I think you missed out. It was really, really fun. The whole fair is fun, but Analog Corner, basically Chrome Land, what Chrome does there in Hamburg is amazing. There was all kinds of exhibitors and talks and industry people that I will be sharing through the YouTube channel as much as possible, but obviously if you weren't there, you kind of can't be there anymore, but I'll try my best to explain. But yeah, I highly recommend you go next year if you can't, if you didn't go this year, or if you want to just repeat. So let me do a quick summary of some stuff that happened there. First of all, I finally got to meet Jason Kummerfield. That is Grainy Days on YouTube. Everybody knows who he is. It was great. We got to do a chat on the main stage at the fair, which was nerve-breaking and super fun at the same time, and continued in Chrome Land on the couch, way more comfortable. I got to also interview Silver Grain Classics with their new White Lux redo. So the whole White Lux project, a little bit about that. More of that will be coming soon. Supposedly they recorded it. They're going to be sending it to me and I can make videos about it. Then we have news about Adox. Adox has managed to finally make their 120 machine make film spool or convert film properly again. I've been told by Mirko himself, the founder of Adox and Foto MX, that basically 120 is coming soon. And also they had the D76 remake. Basically now that Kodak is out of the game in chemistry, as far as I know, D76 by Adox is the solution if you were into it. This has some benefits like lower temperature mixing. It has their no dust kind of mixture and is the traditional formula that we all love and care for. Then we have Ferrania, which I made a video about it. Basically, Ferrania was there answering all kinds of questions. But yes, P30 is there. They have a second sort of P30 that is ISO 100. They're talking about higher ISO black and white films and color films coming soon. I made a whole video with a spiel about me visiting the factory. There's more news on that, but I have to let it be for now. Then we have Orwo. Orwo is one of those players I've been pretty harsh on because I got lots of mixed feelings and messages from the community. And I try to be as objective as possible on the news. That's why I do my opinion pieces. But when I was there, I talked to the coding engineer or head of coding, Robert, and I apologize for being a little harsh that previous year. Second, he told me he had something for me that I could share in the news. So I have here, as far as I know, maybe the first time I've ever seen it on the internet, NC200 in 35mm and NC200 in 120 format. And these are beta rolls from a new coating or a new emulsion by Orwo. It's NC200. It's a 200 ISO C41 color film that I saw results from this person, Robert, and they actually were perfectly boring, which is good. You know what I mean? So the Orwo Emulsions NC400 and NC500 have always had this nostalgic color that they like to advertise, but this NC200 actually looked like it had the reds in the right place, the greens in the right place, the blues in the right place, etc., etc. That's really cool. This film might be coming to market sometime next year, but I will be shooting it and talking about it. But these were basically hand coated by himself, and he said there would be scratches and all kinds of defects, but I could test this out and share with everybody online. So that is pretty cool that Orwo somehow is managing to make new emulsions in all the issues that there are nowadays for making film. I'll keep you informed of that. Then Mr. Rico, Europe, Mr. Shimamoto came over to visit me and talk to me a little bit about Rico and what's going on. I don't have anything I can share so far. He didn't share much at all. Obviously, if Rico, which is creating the film camera from Pentax project, is coming out with something, they're going to hold on to that information as long as they can. But they were just scouting information about the film community, how many cameras there are, how many people are shooting, how much interest there is. Obviously, when you're coming out with a possibility of a new film camera, you don't want to make a mistake of making too little or too many and demand exceeds, or there's no demand, and so on and so forth. I did recommend him to basically, nowadays we have the Leica at 5,000 euros or dollars, and then we have things like lomography in the middle, and then we have like the Kodak Plastic Fantastic H35, H35N, and I think Pentax has a large margin of error to make a camera in that price point between the $5,000 and the $80. So hopefully we'll see something there, but it was really nice to meet Mr. Shimamoto. I was an honor, honestly, to be coming to a fair and someone like that coming up to me and talking about the industry. We also had an interview with Ilford, which you can see, well, Harman Technology, but there's stuff happening behind the doors there. He couldn't share much on camera, but I hope that I can share more in the future. Then let's go ahead and start some news that are not Photopia related. Like I said, there was a lot to unpack there. I will make more content about it. Then we have the Imago developing machine finally live on Indiegogo. It is available now. He's already reached the minimum that he wanted was 30,000 euros. They had a flexible goal, which means whatever they funded, they would get, but they passed, so that's good news. There are stretch goals at 80,000 euros and 130,000 euros from an app to more chemical reactions. But the Imago, if you haven't seen it, is a semi-automatic processor. So what it is this kind of like motor with a computer gizmo that you attach to a Patterson tank, which has to have its funnel modified. So when you do the Kickstarter backing, Indiegogo backing, you get the funnel with the drills. And you can use Patterson tanks, not Jobo, no AP. And it has a temperature probe that goes inside. And this has an O-ring, so you can pour your chemicals through it, set the time and start. And what it will do is calculate the temperature loss and extend the program of development within the temperature loss. So this agitates, basically turns one way and turns the other way, and also calculates the time. So then you empty it with the whole thing attached, and then you refill. It's pretty cool and dandy. I've tested it out myself here in Finland, and I found it to be pretty easy and nice to use. The footprint is really small because it's not much more than like a Hasselblad attached to a Patterson tank. So that's pretty cool, and you can back it right now. Then we have Keks with a KMQ light meter. Keks was at Photopia. I actually saw the light meter. This is a cube little light meter that has both options of an LED on the top and an LED on the back. It might be OLED, but you know what I mean. It has like a screen on the top or a screen on the side, depending on how you want it. It's really small. It's available for $80 US, and you basically can choose, I think it is silver or black. But yeah, really nice light meters. We actually tested Keks light meters in Photopia previous year with the testing machines here at work, and it did really well in different EVs, which is good news because a lot of these light meters don't usually do great in low EVs. Then we have a new lens manufacturer that actually supposedly announced at Photopia, but I didn't see them. It's called Thypoch M Mount lenses. So they've released a 35mm f1.4 and a 28mm f1.4. Price point is around $699 US. There's no place to buy them yet. Only have is some social media and a YouTube video. The website doesn't even load on my computer. But if you're into different M mount lenses, these are kind of cool in a way. They have that depth of field scale that comes from like the Alpa Svitars and all these lenses that have like the little red dots that fill in as you focus further, and then you lose the red dots as you focus closer. And they have a declicked aperture, and you can click it again, so it's declicked or clicked, and so many things that you would want on a Leica lens if you were shooting video and so on. But these are, I'll leave the link below, not available yet. Then we have Negative Supply Basic 120 Carrier. So Negative Supply, maker of gizmos for digitizing film, has announced a bunch of new basic items. I'm not going to announce them all here on the news because there's a lot of them, but the Basic 120 is a 120 carrier for scanning your 120 film. And now it's a new method. Instead of having the clamp open and clamp close, it has a double S and so on, and some masks. You can check it out. Their product lineup is kind of complicated, so I recommend you have a look at the website. You don't understand, you can reach out to them, but I left the link below. Then we have a do-it-yourself instant film. This is a video from a colleague here on YouTube that has actually tried and successfully made his do-it-yourself kind of instant film, like peel-apart film. So this is a whole video explaining the chemicals that you need, how to make the pods, how to make the receiving layer and the negative, and then him shooting and showing some results. This is really cool. Obviously, this is for the do-it-yourself kind of photographer. If you're shooting commercial, not for you. But if you're interested in this kind of like finagling with chemistry and paper and direct emulsions, whatever it is, you can go check it out. It's pretty fascinating, and I love the idea of doing your stuff, you know, kind of yourself. Then we have some news that have been breaking around the internet about Cinestill. Obviously, Cinestill is a sponsor of the news, so if you don't want to believe what I have to say, honestly, I don't have anything against you. But Cinestill, there's been like leaks or articles on Reddit, and I think Cat Labs made an article about Cinestill pursuing people that are selling films that have the trademark they own. So Cinestill, as you know, has film like 800T color film and 500D and 400D, 50D, and other films. And what happens here, or seems to have happened here, is Cinestill has some of the names trademarked to themselves. And in this realm, there's been some other films coming out to market with similar names, and Cinestill has been telling people in stores to please stop carrying films that have these names because they're confusing to customers. And I reached out to Cinestill, they gave me some word, and they recommended me to share with you a link to the trademarks. And it has a whole explanation of what they own as trademarks and what is a good use or fair use of trademarks and whatnot. So you can have a look. Obviously, if you are somebody that wants to put your money where you care, you can read about Cinestill. Cinestill's been doing film for I think 8 years nowadays. I've interviewed them for many times. They've always been pro community. And there's also this brand that has been supposedly the one making this Cinestill kind of clone and using Cinestill in their branding, like not branding, but like in the descriptions, which is making people confused when they search for Cinestill. So this is a whole thing. I'm working on a proper video about the whole topic, and I will keep updated. But yeah, it is a thing. It has happened. I don't know if it's pretty or not pretty. Honestly, I don't know trademark laws, and I'm not like a lawyer about this stuff, but you can go ahead and read. It is never good to see maybe somebody having to cease and desist using a name or a trademark, but there are laws to protect these things, and that's what they're for. Let's go now to Audalab. So Audalab is a company based in France, Paris basically, run by an actually ex-colleague of my work who came here for an internship, Adrian, and he's making a new pro scanner for labs. So this is some crazy, it looks like a pack-on that's had like protein bars for like 2 years. This crazy scanner that will suck a roll of 35, probably 120 I'm guessing, and will scan it and convert it while it's doing that. Obviously, details are still quite scarce. This was presented at Salon de la Foto in Paris this past weekend, but just for those who might be interested, it's worth having a look. I'll leave the link below. Then we have Flickfilm coming back with Electra 100, their color negative film that is back in stock. And also from Flickfilm, they've been helping Street Candy come back to market. As you know, Street Candy stopped for a little bit, and now their MTN 100 and ATM 400 is back in stock thanks to the conversion from Flickfilm. So I'll leave the link to both in the description. Also coming some news from FPP, our fellow podcasters, Film Photography Podcast, or Project. Yeah, Film Photography Project. They have a podcast that's awesome. Michael Rasso has now new infrared film in 35, 4x5, and 16 millimeters, which is really, really cool. If you are into kind of a different black and white look, infrared is something that you don't see often, and even less often in 4x5 or 16 mil. So yeah, that is the news. Like I said, there's a lot to unpack after Photopia. If I forgot something, remember you can send any information to my email below. Thanks for watching, and thanks to the sponsors, and see you next time.